Breaking news tonight in the search for a man who shot a trooper in Durham. Here's a live look at an active scene, a parking lot on North Roxborough Street, where the car that suspect was driving was found. Good evening, everybody. I'm Pam Salzman.
And I'm Penn Holderness. Thanks for joining us. Now, this all started a little bit after 6 o'clock. You saw that live shot Pam was talking about. It actually started about 4 hours away, or 4 miles away, rather, from where you just saw that shot. Take a look here. The trooper was making a traffic stop on US 70 near Cheek Road when he was shot. Now, since then, a massive police presence along I-70 and I-85. A few hours later, they found a car matching the description of the suspect's car, but no suspect. Now they're looking for another car, so let's get to Steve Sprasia for all the latest details. Hey, Steve.
Pam, let's give you the absolute latest. Police have confirmed to me this vehicle that you're looking at behind me is indeed the vehicle that was used as the getaway car following the shooting on Highway 70. Now, Durham police rolled into this area and began to cordon it off a couple of hours ago after the vehicle was spotted behind a Chinese restaurant on North Roxborough Street. Durham police being the lead agency investigating this, despite the fact that a trooper was shot. He was shot on Highway 70, which is in Durham County. It is in Durham's absolute jurisdiction. Let's take a live look right now at where it all happened. It all began on US 70 right near Cheek Road, as you indicated a bit earlier. About 6 this evening, a trooper was making what they described as a routine traffic stop for a minor violation. When he approached the vehicle, we are told that the suspect opened fire on him. That suspect described as a man in his 20s. The description of him includes having blonde hair cropped in a military style, a white T-shirt. That suspect then fled in his Nissan Altima. The Altima then found a short time later behind the Durham restaurant. At this point, Durham police still trying to figure out exactly what was in that vehicle. They're doing a lot of forensics right now on the scene, trying to see if they can pull any clues. They're still trying to find the driver of that vehicle. And as Penn, as you indicated, there's also reports of a second vehicle that may have been involved, may have actually picked up that driver. Still trying to get all that put together. Sergeant Jeff Gordon of the Highway Patrol is on the scene right now, just out of camera range. He's getting additional information. If he gets it during the course of this broadcast, of course, we'll pass it on live to you. For now, reporting live from Durham, I'm Steve Sprasia. Back to you, Penn and Pam.
Yeah, Steve, really quickly, you mentioned that the trooper was stable. It sounds like, and I know you haven't gotten a lot of information, that, with such a detailed description of the suspect, that perhaps that was something provided by an alert trooper who actually got shot.
Well, we asked Sergeant Gordon about that and again questioned him after his second briefing here at the scene a short time ago. We wondered if it was motorists on the highway because it was the middle of rush hour. That road was jammed with traffic. Was it motorists who provided a description of the suspect? Was it motorists who tried to render aid to that trooper? He said he doesn't know right now. He's still trying to get that information. We should also mention the trooper, in addition to being stable, that could be stable critical, stable good, stable fair. Stable just means your condition's not changing. We are told that the trooper's family is by his side at Duke Medical Center right now, standing by, making sure that he does have a full recovery. Pam?
All right, Steve, thank you. On top of the shooting of a state trooper in Durham, thank you for that. So now, just to recap the latest information, here's a live look at Highway 70 near Cheek Road in Durham. That's where a trooper was shot just after 6 o'clock this evening during a traffic stop. That trooper is stable right now at Duke Hospital. A few hours after the shooting, troopers, SBI, and others came to a second scene about 4 miles away on Roxborough Street. That's where a car matching the description of the suspect's vehicle was found in a parking lot. The suspect, right now, still on the run. Troopers are looking for a white man in his 20s with a blonde crew cut wearing a white T-shirt. Okay, if you have any information on this, please call 911. The other big story tonight, Governor Pat McCrory delivering his first State of the State address. And
the 3 areas of focus for the governor, he didn't call them the 3 E's, but they were all E's, the economy, education, and government efficiencies.
Right now, NBC 17's Kim Gennardo joins us to break down the 40-minute speech.
That's right, 40 minutes, a little bit of a surprise. We were anticipating 25. Right? Yeah. That's right. So Governor McCrory addressing a really supportive crowd that gave him several standing ovations. Of course, speaking to directly conservative supporters for quite a bit of that speech. He tackled paying off the state's $2.5 billion unemployment debt. Take a listen.
Borrowing from Washington with no idea or plan on how to pay for it ends with this administration. right now. We aren't going to do it any longer. We are not going to borrow money from Washington with no idea on how to pay it back.
And that all begins tomorrow when he signs House Bill 4 into law, and that's taking care of that debt. It's also increasing business taxes on the short term so they can more quickly pay off that federal loan. We've
been talking about education all day. He signed a bill earlier on today. He talked about reform in the speech. He got specific about some ways that he was going to work it out, including kind of taking a stab at the money from North Carolina's education lottery, right?
Yeah, take a listen to this.
Reallocate a portion of money away from the bloated and frankly annoying advertising and the large administration cost of the Lottery Commission. And we will use that money directly to help our students with technology.
You know, that's a sore spot for so many lawmakers. Remember, Pam, I mean, we lived that battle of even getting the lottery in place. So 60% of the money goes to prizes, leaving 29% of the lottery funds to go to education. It's still hundreds of millions of dollars, mind you, but it's 29%. So the governor is actually targeting 4% that should be going to the classroom when he's talking about those advertising expenses with the corny ads, as he called them, right? Not us.
Jingle. He was referring to the jingle, the one that we all have in our heads right now, probably.
And we know, Kim, that the economy and job creation are certainly priorities for the governor.
Absolutely. And we've heard this. It's every politician's priority over the past 4 years. So his way out, number one, tax reform. But he also suggested, quickly behind that, energy is the way to go.
To get North Carolina into the energy business and begin the process of energy exploration in a safe and environmentally sound way. Last week.
So that's why he's already joined the South Carolina and Virginia governors. They offered a joint statement to the Obama administration asking to get going on offshore drilling.
Good timing for him. Gas prices keep going up. He used that as kind of a lead-in to saying this is how we find more money in our state. However, there's one environmental activist we spoke to tonight who said that there are other ways to worry about energy. Take a listen.
I wasn't too thrilled with what he said about energy. I mean, he said that North Carolina needs to get in the energy business, but the fact is North Carolina is in the energy business. We're already in the clean energy business. What I wanted to hear more from the governor is how can we build on that progress?
To be determined, right? Everyone is watching because in this area, fracking's hot. Wind energy, offshore exploration on the coast. So government efficiency, that was one of the third E's, also a hot topic. So we stopped Transportation Secretary Tony Tata on his way out since infrastructure and DOT roads is such a big part of that. Here's what the secretary had to say.
We can create tens of thousands more jobs if we just take tweak the formulas a little bit and take a hard look at how we're doing it, what we're doing, and where we're doing it. If we're more efficient, we can improve the economy. And so that's how that
So McCrory calling himself an Eisenhower Republican, like put our people back to road and bridge building, kind of interesting, but that's definitely part of the plan.
All right, Kim, thanks.
So how'd he do? Let's get some grades from the professor, Dave McClennan from William Peace University. Governor McCrory, let's start with the writing of the speech. How would you grade that?
I think it was an A minus. It was a well-written speech. It had a nice organization to it. It flowed. He stayed kind of to the script. Good speech.
Delivery and letting people get to know him.
Maybe a B minus. I don't think he was consistent in terms of letting his personality come out. At times, when he introduced his wife, I thought that was really strong, but he got really bogged down a couple times in the speech.
His ability to really connect with people about education, which a lot of people care about out there.
I think that's B plus, A minus. It was a strong speech. He focused a lot on education. He laid out his ideas pretty clearly. It wasn't a speech everybody's going to agree on, but it was clear.
Jobs.
Jobs was a big focus. I think he laid out some very ambitious goals. I think goals-wise, probably a B plus. We'll have to wait on the execution grade.
What about reaching across the aisle? I mean, that's something we've been talking about for a while now.
It's probably more of like a D. It wasn't a speech that he threw a lot of olive branches to the Democrats. We saw in the Democratic response, there was a clear line in the sand from the get-go, so I think it wasn't a good speech for that.
We always appreciate your insight, David McClennan, William Peace University, professor of political science. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And as he said, the Democrats had a lot to say about the future of North Carolina.
House Democratic leader Larry Hall speaking just moments after the governor, talking about that line in the sand.
We believe our state must give North Carolinians the government they deserve, an open and honest government that is accountable and respects the rights of all its citizens. We need to increase oversight and promote accountability in state government to ensure taxpayer money is spent wisely and efficiently. We need to reform ethics laws to ensure our government is accountable to the people and not to the special interests. And we need to protect the rights of all North Carolinians to participate in electing their leaders.
Now, we have more coverage of tonight's State of the State address, including responses from state leaders and interest groups, as well as excerpts from the speech on the front page of our website, WNCN.com. All of this comes the same day that the governor signed his first bill as governor. The measure will require the state to develop diplomas that show whether a student is ready for college, a vocational career, or both. It also tells the Board of Education to make it easier to hire more vocational and technical teachers. Now, that falls into McCrory's campaign platform about public schools preparing students for the working world. It's a battle of David versus Goliath.
I'm pretty strong, so I can shoot from anywhere.
Guess which one that is? I'm going to say that's David, a 7th grader guarding 12th graders. No big deal for him, though. He's in a class of his own.
And cold and snow over the weekend. Sunshine was back today, but it's rain back in the forecast tomorrow. We'll tell you when the wet weather arrives when NBC 17 News at 11 continues.
Ever look at your dog and, love it, but then also think, is that thing normal? Well, don't worry, you're not alone.
Our first report on this topic resonated with a lot of you out there, so our Eileen Park took your questions and decoded odd dog behavior.
Thanksgiving night, Dogs do the darndest things.
She'll eat anything.
She will eat till her back legs stop working.
Get a little anxious about food.
He's just such a nut.
He drooled the whole way home.
Undeniable weirdness.
Iggy Pup, Lola, and Otis keep their owners Blake Burney and Rob Thompson busy. And sometimes their behavior can turn from cute to frightening.
He scared us to death a couple times.
Blake, also known in the triangle as DJ Triple B, is talking about his French bulldog, Iggy Pup.
We had on several occasions, he got so excited that he would sort of short circuit. And, he would freeze up and roll over on his back and just scare us to death.
So in many ways, Iggy lives up to his name.
Just this whole crazy, weird wiggle dance.
This is the infamous Iggy Pup wiggle dance. And that panting you hear?
That's what I'm talking about.
Doesn't stop for hours.
That's not normal.
Dr. Heather Moser says it's normal for dogs to get hyper and excited when they see you, but it's not normal for them to pass out.
Iggy is definitely probably abnormal in that he is a complete spaz all the time. And Lola is wonderful in that she's nice and docile.
But Lola's got a whole different set of quirks.
Her obsession of overeating. She will hunt for food probably 80% of the time. She had just eaten to the point where her back legs were not working anymore.
Her normal receptors that tell you it's time, you're full, you don't need to eat anymore. She enjoys eating so much and likes to eat so much that she overrides that and just continues to eat.
And that is not normal. Rob adopted Otis just a few months ago.
He would itch real bad, both of the tips of his ears and inside his ears.
How bad?
I mean, just kind of maniacally. I mean, he would just go at it and at it and at it. It was kind of disturbing to watch.
Otis and ear scratching. Is that normal or not normal?
That's not normal.
Dr. Moser says incessant scratching is a sign of either a skin allergy or an infection and needs to be treated immediately.
When dogs get allergies, they get very itchy, and that's how they express it.
And there's also that whole issue with the cats.
So we have a cat who's pretty grumpy, and we did not expect her to get along with the dog, and hissing and growling and sometimes swiping at him. But it doesn't seem to bother him. He just kind of comes back.
The classic dog versus cat relationship.
It's sort of an instinctive prey, predator, natural behavior.
Our verdict? Completely normal.
So this whole special was partially inspired by my own little dog, little Bruce Wayne over here. He's a puppy mill rescue from the SPCA. And when I first got him, he had some interesting habits that were a little disgusting. Dr. Heather Moser explains.
Eating your own feces is thought to be possibly a nutritional deficiency.
Disgusting, but normal. In Raleigh, Eileen Park, NBC 17 News.
Iggy Pup was my favorite.
Eileen's got a cutie too.
Does. We are expanding our series especially after seeing The Last Cat, to cats as well.
So if you have a question for Eileen Park and Dr. Moser, email newstips@WNCN.com.
And now, your precision forecast with Chief Meteorologist Wes Hohenstein.
I'll give you $1 if you pant like that through the entire weathercast.
I feel like I'd probably pass out.
Yeah, I want to see, at some point you're going to fall over. Hey, we got some sunshine. We lost the wind. Slightly warmer temperatures today, up to 52 degrees, but below our average of 56. And as you can see, we don't have a lot of temperature dips and rises this week, but it's a chilly week. This after 3 days in the 60s last week. At least tonight, though, and tomorrow morning, it will not be in the teens. Upper teens this morning for the third time this season. We're not going to go there tomorrow morning, but it's still chilly. 30s and 40s right now. And when you start your Tuesday, the clouds will be in, and mid-30s is what you'll have when you start your day. So quite a bit warmer than the upper teens, almost by about 20 degrees. But as we head toward the late morning and lunchtime, as well as the early afternoon, we will have rain likely. It's going to be a windy day. We should dry out right about the time we start to head home from work, with a high of 54 degrees. Now this morning, as I mentioned, 18 here in Raleigh, 19 down in Fayetteville. Got this picture that I thought, what do they say, picture 1,000 words? This describes perfectly how it felt this morning. Icicles on a holly tree there in Clayton from the Davis family. Thank you for that. Now we turn our attention west, as high pressure still going to give us a southerly wind tomorrow, getting us into the mid-50s. But the rain and cold front are all headed our way. The good news is it is not expected to be severe. It is rain and nothing else. So let's pick up the weather map at 7 a.m. when we will have clouds but dry weather. By about mid-morning, I think we'll start to see a few showers moving in from the west. And I think most of us are covered by lunchtime, shortly before and there shortly after. Here comes the cold front out of the mountains. As the rain moves east, it will weaken. So by 3 o'clock and by 6 o'clock, things start to break apart a little bit. 6 o'clock, the front finally moves through, and we are dry and clear by tomorrow night, but a little colder by the time Wednesday rolls around. So we've adjusted the rain graph just a little bit since earlier. Still relatively dry very early on, and then drying out much later. But again, right before lunchtime, after lunchtime through mid-afternoon is our best chance of rain. But guess what? We might have something other than rain later this week. Still a ways away. So keep that in mind, as this will most likely change. But late Thursday and early Friday, another round of rain. Small chance that we could see some sleet and even some freezing rain mixing in. Very small chance it would be north of the triangle, so this would have minor impacts. And, something talking about ice in the early morning, schools may talk about delaying. Again, this is still several days away, but it is our next bout of winter weather, Thursday night, Friday morning. As for tomorrow, it is all rain with clouds. And check out our wind gusts, 30 miles per hour out of the south as we get up to 54. We'll calm things down Wednesday and Thursday. We'll also cool them down. And then again, late Thursday, and we're talking after midnight, through Friday and Saturday is our next chance of precipitation. That wintry weather I was talking about, guys, would be very brief in the early morning hours of Friday. We do dry it out by Saturday and Monday, so a cool week. And all in all, we got 3 out of 7 days that have wet weather, so a wet week as well.
Let me tell you a little something about your minor event. This far, it starts like that, and
right.
Then once it gets to Friday,
that's what happened last week. Last week was unique.
Yeah,
let's just leave it at that.
All righty. Thanks, Wes. Well, when you think of a high school varsity team, freshmen making the cut, that's still pretty rare, right?
But, yeah, imagine this, a 7th grader playing varsity with guys 5 years older than he is.
North Raleigh Christian Academy 7th grader Damon Harge is battling that and high expectations. Take a look. Todd Gibson has the story.
Damon Harge appears to use all of his might to hoist a three-pointer during warm-ups.
I'm pretty strong, so I can shoot from anywhere.
Connect. Harge wears the label Phenom, and he's living up to the billing. Just a 7th grader, the 5'7" 100-pound 13-year-old plays on the varsity.
He's a natural shooter, natural player, God-given ability, but also his work ethic has made him into a great player.
How good? Well, 2 years ago, Harge went to the Adidas Phenom Camp in San Diego, where he absolutely blew up the competition.
We went to the camp, and Damon got ranked #1 player in the country. And he set a camp record by scoring 50 points in one of the camp games.
And he's been at the top of his class ever since. And it's not by chance. Harge works at his craft.
Work out 1,000 shots, sometimes more. Ball handling. So I end up working out for about 4 hours a day.
5, 6 o'clock in the morning workouts, you know, three-day workouts, you know, lifting, you know, running, you know, shooting. He shoots over 1,000 shots every day, you know, so that's a lot.
Which leaves very little time for his other hobbies. You do have other hobbies, don't you?
No. It's basketball.
It's a price Harge is willing to pay to be the top-ranked player in his class. In Raleigh, Todd Gibson, NBC 17 Sports.
4 hours a day he practices. He's something else. He already, get this, has an offer from NC Central University.
I gotta watch this guy. His team is playing Charlotte Latin tomorrow in the NCISAA playoffs. You saw boxing out the 6-foot guy? Yeah. We're coming back. It was good. We are still following breaking news in Durham. That's where a trooper was shot earlier this evening. The search for the shooter is still ongoing.
Steve Brascia is right there on the scene live near Roxborough Street. Steve?
Pam and Pam, we want to show you what's happening right now. Forensic investigators from the Durham Police Department have just collected bags and bags of what we can presume would be evidence and put them in some of their vehicles. They had by the Nissan Altima that was used as the getaway vehicle following the shooting of the trooper. I'd like you to take a look down St. Paul Street here, which intersects with Roxborough Street. You can see a large contingent of police vehicles still down here at the scene right now as they continue to investigate. Let's take you to the scene where the shooting happened early this evening, just after 6 o'clock on U.S. Highway 70 near Cheek Road. That was where the highway patrol officer was in the midst of making what they described as a routine traffic stop. At one point, a man described as in his 20s pulled out a gun, opened fire on the trooper. That suspect, still at large right now, described as a white male with a blonde military-style haircut, last seen wearing a white T-shirt. Don't know where he is right now. That is part of the investigation. We should also mention that Governor McCrory, Pat McCrory, showed up at the hospital at Duke University Medical Center where the trooper was taken. We understand from state police sources right now the trooper's family is by his bedside right now. He is listed in stable condition as he continues to recover and be treated for those gunshot wounds. That is the latest from the scene right now. Reporting live, I'm Steve Brascia. Back to you, Penn and Pam.
All right, Steve, we'll have much more on our morning news on this story. Thank you. A last look at your forecast. Final weather next.